What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Propping Up on the Gold Boys Network, sponsored by Pickett, the top betting tracking app. Follow your friends, keep track of your own bets, see what's working, see what's not. Great app, thanks to Pickett. I'm Griffy, joined by Walla, who is looking frozen for me, but I'm hoping he's not looking frozen for anyone else. And he is gone. So hopefully he will rejoin me. I'm sure he's figured out now that he is no longer here. So how we doing? I will wait for him to come back. Really, really good timing there. Let's talk about last week a little bit in hockey while we wait for Walla to hopefully come back. I've talked about it a couple times. Props were getting pretty frustrating, whether it's stat corrections or guys not looking good or guys that look really good not coming through. And that's been getting a little frustrating. So we pivoted a little to totals, at least I did, and found a lot of success there, which I'm excited about. It's tough that the props kind of brought down a little bit of the week, but I was still in the green. Definitely encouraged by that new market. And I think as it comes to shots on goal, I don't think it means we need to put away that part of props at all. I mean, that was awesome last year, and there's still value. I mean, people are still hitting their shots. They're just, the lines are getting juiced. Some of these stat corrections are a little sketchy, for sure. I think goals have been coming through a lot more. And I think it's really the studs that are delivering. I would love Walla to come back because he had a little bit more passionate. I'm going to send him a message in case he's not realizing he's not here anymore. He's about to come back. Why don't we just start jumping into the games? Just to recap, I'm encouraged by what happened last week with the totals, especially in both directions, over and unders. And I think keeping it simple was what was really working. Just trusting in that home road data, especially, at least for me, a team who's scoring a lot or not scoring a lot, and the inverse, a team that's allowing, a lot of goals or not. And I think goalies obviously have a lot to do with that, but those numbers are starting to become more reliable. We're about to get into December here. This is the 9th week of hockey already, which is crazy. And we're just starting to see these teams are who they are for now. Teams that struggle on the power play or on the penalty kill or, are doing well. I've been putting a lot more weight into those numbers. So while we wait for Walla, I'm going to just jump in. Schedule-wise, Toronto, Detroit. I don't have anything for this game. I lean the under and Detroit's money line if Husso's in net. So definitely worth confirming. But Detroit's been pretty good at home. They've been tight to goals. They're 7-2-2 at home. They are plus 120 money line, which I just find interesting. They got a good penalty kill that should be able to slow down Toronto. And they're only allowing 2.5 goals per game at home. But personally, I'm not too excited about that game. Vegas.
Sorry, I wasn't on here. I do want to jump in. I just want to say Husso is confirmed to be in the net today as of an hour ago. So he will be in the net for the Olympics.
Very interesting. Detroit's been, thank you for that. Detroit's been surprisingly good. Here he is. Welcome back to the fold, Wall. He must have had to go to the bathroom. What's going on?
No, it was actually pretty comedic timing. We were doing the countdown into the show, and the second we hit go, everything crashed. It was almost magic. So I apologize for that.
That's all right. I just floundered for a couple minutes as I talked to myself.
We're happy to have you back.
Sorry. Let's get this going.
We're just chatting about, at least for me, the team totals were working out and the props getting a little frustrating, but still deserve our trust. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to talk about high level, just about the market and how you're feeling.
No, I agree with you on the totals angle. They've been looking really good, and it makes sense when you look at it. when you look at how we've been targeting props anyway, especially as people who bet overs more than unders, those are the games we're looking at anyway. We're looking at games where we're hoping for a lot of action, a lot of shots. So it kind of feels natural to be looking at totals as well. And yeah, the success following it's really great. So I like that angle as well, and we'll be attacking that more. As far as props, I'm not overreacting. I think there's always going to be tough streaks, and I think it's just we have to keep in mind that as the betting has become more popular, I don't necessarily think that they're trying to jip us off. I think that they're just paying more attention to the plays and making the stat changes, because now that there's money invested in it, they want everything to be correct. So I'm not going to overreact and start going at throats here. I do think attacking unders is a good look. There are some gems there. I think there are gems when you look for the overs as well. And either way, you're going to follow your process and follow your stats. And we've had success in the past. And I think maybe it's just not firing away on too many plays, kind of honing in more on your favorite. That way, if it doesn't pan out, you're not screwing yourself over on a ton of misses. But that's just me. I think that the data's there and the research is sound, so I'm going to keep following it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easy to just get frustrated when you're losing the same type of prop over and over again for a couple days, because 2 to 3 bad days can feel like 3 weeks sometimes when you're doing this every day. But I mean, you even look at yesterday and the studs were coming through, especially with shots. I mean, Kachuk and DeBrincat both hit. You were talking about Fiala a little bit behind the scenes. He had a big day.
Yeah.
Patty Kane delivered. Kaprizov came through. So I think it's, maybe not getting so cute with, some of these like third, fourth guys and hoping they keep up a streak of hitting 3, and instead just rolling with the studs, because, they make the offenses run and they're going to have to shoot the puck.
And we're getting more of this situational data, home and road splits and stuff like that, so we can start applying that a bit more. And that was one of the things talking about Fiala from last night. He shoots more at home for whatever reason. You could look at when we were looking at his chart last night, I had noticed that he had been under in like 5 of his last 6 games, but the 5 that he went under were all on the road, and the one that he went over was at home, and he was back at home, and it was a nice spot. So I think we're just getting more of a sample size on different things to look at here. And I think that'll help us out more too.
For sure. I was saying while you were gone, this is the 9th week. We're entering the 9th hockey week already, which is crazy that we're about to be in December. I'm excited that we can start to put a little more faith into these numbers. So I'd start talking about Toronto, Detroit, how we didn't really have a ton. Huso is confirmed in net, which makes me lean the under and Detroit to win. I actually wanted to see what like a same game parlay of teasing things out, like under 7.5 and Detroit plus 2.5. Ooh, minus 150. Forget that. But something like that, I think worth playing around. I think Detroit could win this game, and I think it could be tight. I don't really have anything else.
Yeah, I was saying before the show, Huso's been great. I think he's a solid goalie. Definitely with him being confirmed, I was liking an angle that puts a huge damper on it. I was liking Tavares, like his shots, and maybe parlaying it with him to get a point. He has been really good on the road. Great hit rates for both. Just Huso's been better. But Tavares, I think he's over his shots in 9 of 11 road games, been getting points as well. So I did like that angle. He has a good history against Detroit. But yeah, Huso makes that a little on the point side. He's had some good games, but I still think that I still think a guy like Tavares could get his shots. I do think there's more hesitation on the game though. The Detroit side's not bad, like you said. They've been a little bit surprising, and I think at home, they have the chance to get something done here. Especially Toronto's just one of those teams that I don't know. I've always felt they're hard to trust, and in spots where you might think they have an edge, you really got to look at that other side. And Detroit's one of those teams that can surprise you.
Yeah, I just remembered I bet Detroit to win, make the playoffs, which has me excited. I forgot I got that sitting back in the back burners. They've been, especially at home, very solid.
Mm-hmm. I like Larkin. He's been, he's had some nice shot volume. Toronto is a tighter team to shots, but I think at home, uh, if you're gonna look somewhere, he interests me. He seems to come through for them a lot, and he's had a couple big games recently. So I like a couple of those guys in there, but I'm not like crazy about the spots. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. So Vegas, Columbus, definitely would be a good looking spot on the Vegas end. I mean, Columbus is just Swiss cheese right now, and I don't think it's going to get any better anytime soon. I mean, their shots allowed number is only going up. Is there any shot targets you have on Vegas? I know we're on a similar idea for a goal, but shots wise, does anyone stand out?
There are a couple guys I do like. Eichel to get it going today. I don't not crazy about the price. Same with Theodore. He's been pretty solid, but the prices are just a little bit too juiced for me for their overall performance. Uh, I think I lean more targeting maybe points and stuff in this game, based on prices like that. I don't want to pay the juice for some of these guys in this spot.
No. Yeah, I think I thought about doing Vegas team total. I had it written down as I was going through my checks. 3.5 goals is minus 165, uh, which does not excite me. And 4.5 goals that's a lot of goals to be betting on. So I do think it's one of those instances we talk about. I'm trying to go to totals a little bit more to not rely on a player, but I think in an instance like this, it's a good time to reverse that back to a guy to score, get some points. I do think Eichel is the guy. He's just a volume leader. He's got a goal in 3 straight against Columbus, plus 150 to score on Caesars. I think is a really good look.
Yeah, I really like that angle as well. I've been playing more goal scorers lately. One just yeah, we've said it before. When you're hoping a guy's gonna shoot a lot, chances are there's just the better chances of getting a goal shooting more. So you follow these guys in spots where you can imagine them getting some volume, and you get the better price on goals. Obviously, like yesterday, I went to Dubois, uh, who was having a couple down games, but I liked the spot, and it was plus 200 for a goal. And I think Eichel is good here too. Personally, don't want to take the shots with the juice, and with how you're saying the books are giving them 3.5 pretty juice for their team total. I could see Eichel having a game here. He's gone a few without a goal, I believe. But he tends to shoot more on the road, if I'm not mistaken. So I like that a little bit against Columbus. And sticking right there, same. I mentioned this play the last show. If you can do it, like an Eichel and a Stone point parlay or something like that, looks really solid too. Because Stone's been fantastic on the road. He's a point in all but 2 games on the road, I think, which is a lot more than what he's had at home. So that could be a good combo right there.
For sure. I think so. It's Tarasov's in net for Columbus. He's not played too much, but last 2 games, going back a month, he's let up 7 goals. So, I mean, it really does. Just Columbus can't stop shots, and with those shots, I mean, they're letting up over 4 goals a game. I thought Shea Theodore looked interesting just because defenseman against Columbus is something you could probably do every night for long-term success, but I didn't really like the price.
Maybe ladder or something. It could be a spot where if you like the angle of defenseman against Columbus and you think there's a big game inbound, then possibly if alt lines are on FanDuel, you could always go that route if you don't like the juice.
Especially a little bounce back. I mean, he didn't come through against Vancouver. Yeah, but he's had 4 shots in 5 of his last 8 games. So that would be a nice little 4+ option.
Mhm.
Uh,
Definitely.
and I think you could, parlay Vegas. I think over 3.5 would be fine if you want to pair it with something else as we touch on these other games. Uh, yeah, let's keep it moving.
Hmm.
New Jersey, New York should be a good game. I do have one angle here myself. Initially, I was thinking I wanted New York's team total under. Um, the Rangers only scoring 2.6 per at home, and the Devils are letting up 2.1 on the road. So that's just my initial. When I see that, I at least jot it down and then keep it moving. And then, the Devils' penalty kill is one of the league's best, and the Rangers, their power play success has been going down a little bit. They're no longer, scoring in the top 10, 15% of teams. So if I see a team that might struggle on the power play and in general, on 5-on-5, that's interesting to me. The Rangers are 8-2 to their team total under at home in their last 10. I just got a little scared off. I think it's probably just a bias about the Rangers. Like, I've had no problem taking under 2.5 goals for some other teams recently. I'm actually 2-0 on those team total unders, which are the sweatiest thing ever. Like Saturday when I bet Carolina under 2.5, and they scored twice in the first, and then that still hit. I don't know why, but I was scared off by the Rangers in that regard, so I just pivoted and I'm going Devils money line. If I want to fade the Rangers, why not just take New Jersey to win at -110? So that was my path to my bet there.
Yeah. Yeah, I personally, I'm probably just avoiding this one. I do agree. I'm going to watch this game. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's just one of those that might be a nitty gritty kind of game, and just I don't know. There wasn't anything that was really just like standing out to me too much. So I'm going to personally avoid this one. But I do like that look. Yeah, the Rangers. I think you're right. We've betting them, even thinking back to maybe that run at the end of last year, all those power play, it just seemed like it was like a given that if they got the chance, it was just a smash spot. But as you've mentioned, their success has been dwindling a bit, and Devils aren't really a team you target for much. So yeah, I'm going to avoid it, but I don't dislike the Devils here.
Could be a nice, as maybe you take. I think really DraftKings is one of the only books that offers these. I could be mistaken, but the alt team totals, you could maybe do Rangers under 3.5, Vegas over 3.5. I think could be a nice pairing for that. Would probably get to plus money.
Yeah.
Combining a couple looks there, but yeah, both teams tight to shots. I would avoid this one for shot props. Tampa Buffalo should be a fun one. I know you've been talking about our king on the Sabres, so why don't you talk about him a little bit more?
Yeah, so I'm looking at this game overall. There's a few different angles that I like, so I've got to narrow it down. But you just look at a team like Tampa that gives up power play opportunities, and then Buffalo, they've been great on the power play, but then you got Tage, who's just been uh, when he gets enough power play chances, his shots can really go crazy. I mean, he's one of those guys where he could have a shot and then hit a power play and then leave with 4 shots or something. So, you always like that. His shots are a little on the juice side. Um, yeah, I'm kind of liking maybe him for a goal today. I think Point at the very least is a good look because he can get his assists as well. But just kind of looking, I think he's had a couple games without a goal come and at home where he should get some power play chances. Just seems like a good spot for one of those Tage nights. And like I said before, the goal is a lot better price than the 3.5 shots, which is I think -130 or something like that, maybe more.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I'm on the over in this one, so obviously that love would extend to Tage, especially at home. And yeah, as you mentioned, that power play chances should come. for both teams, really.
Mhm.
But Buffalo in particular, definitely in a good spot just because the Lightning get penalized so often.
Yeah.
Handing out 3.8 power play opportunities per game, which is definitely in the top 10. And Tage, I mean, he's shooting a lot. He's got 31 power play shots this year, and then it's Darlene at 17. So pretty big drop off. So, and not just, they're not just getting those chances, at least in this game on paper. Buffalo power play scoring rate is pretty good compared to the rest of the league, and Tampa has struggled on the penalty kill. And that actually goes both ways, which is part of the reason I like the over. I would expect at least one power play goal for each team tonight.
Yeah, I do like the over as well. I was saying before the show, I haven't decided on what I was doing this game, but that might be it. And then maybe also sprinkle a little bit on Tage goal. But I do like the over. Like you said, both teams can be successful on the power play. Tampa Bay, I think, gives out a little bit more opportunities than Buffalo. But when Buffalo does give them out, they're struggling to stop them. So yeah, I like Kucherov here as well. I think if he does get those power play chances, even more, liking him more. But he's had a couple games going under. 2 games ago he went under, but he still had some good volume. And then last game it was a little quiet. So just looking at how his hit rate in general and just how he tends to play, I think seeing a team like Buffalo could be a good spot for him on shots as well to bounce back.
Definitely. These teams met a couple weeks ago, and there was eight goals in that one as well. And Buffalo at home is just they just make a good over target by themselves. Really, they're scoring 3.7 in Buffalo and allowing 3.4. So this screams to me a game that's going to sit at 3-3 at some point, and we're going to cash that over, whether it goes to overtime or not. But I think both teams are gonna get theirs.
Yeah, I don't know if some books still have that market you were messing around with last year, like total power play goals in the game or something. But definitely, if that was like an option here, that would be a great look. Just these teams, we like the chances, and they're great on the power play. So Tage, Cooch, Stamkos, it's a nice roster for the over.
Yeah. If you want a power play point, maybe I'd flag Darlene leads the team in power play points with 10.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
yeah, should be a fun game. Definitely one that stood out to me immediately. It was the first thing I wrote down this morning was this over. I was excited as I did a couple checks and that came through.
yeah.
Anything else in this one? I like the Tage goal. I may end up joining you on that one, even on the side or something, but I think he's going to score.
Yeah, that's who I would go with. I think on the Tampa side, like I said, Kucherov stands out to me as a target as well. But yeah, that's about it for me. Those are my looks in that game.
How are we feeling about Dallas, St. Louis?
Uh, um, so I was looking, and I know probably going to be a lot of people on Robertson shots, and I think that's pretty justified. He's shooting a ton. He's been super solid. Um, I guess my only hesitation there is that St. Louis, I think they're not allowing many power play opportunities at all. So if they can limit those, and that might cut back on some of his shots, though like I said, he's had a healthy volume. But I thought what was interesting was that his goal is at plus 130. I mean, he's been getting tons of goals, and even just his hit rate in general, that's a solid price for him to score. St. Louis, they do let up goals, and though they don't let up the power play opportunities, I think they have one of the worst penalty kills. So if
Yeah.
he does get his chance, he's shown that he's just deadly this season. So if he can get on a power play against one of the worst penalty kills, I don't mind him for a goal at plus 130, because he could get it done on 5-on-5 as well. So
Yeah, as you're saying all this, I just wrote down I might have to parlay Tage and Robinson. Obviously, you should be betting things straight is good for long term. I just when I already have a couple straights, I like to sprinkle something on a combination. on paper, Dallas should definitely score. I mean, they're scoring 3.7 on the road. St. Louis is allowing 3.6. Stars have one of the best power plays, and the Blues have one of the worst penalty kills. On paper, it's really perfect. Stars have been killing me lately. I keep betting them to win, and they've lost to some questionable teams. But Robinson keeps delivering. So maybe it is just like his goal. I thought about their team total. But they've been burning me lately, so I'm going to stay off. But literally, it checks every box for Dallas to score here.
Yeah. So again, just in these days where you gotta almost every shot play, at least to me, that's like really standing out has been not all of them, but just in that like minus 130-ish range. And I just don't want to load up on too many of those in one night personally, just with how things can go. So that's why I've been looking into some of these other angles, and just plus 130 for Robertson in this spot seems good to me. And on the blue side, I mean, I don't know. I've been trying to look at that team and get it right, and I feel like I'm always a night off when I'm leaning into stuff on that team.
Yeah, they've been tough a little bit for sure. I am doing Tarasenko shots, one of my only shot plays tonight, mostly because Dallas pretty solid target on the road, allowing about 35 per game, and they let up a lot of power play chances, and Tarasenko's right up there, with the team lead, even with him missing a couple games. And against Dallas last year, 5-4-4. Those are some pretty nice numbers there. He's over 2.5 and 4-6. I'm going to pair him with someone that we're going to get to in a little bit. He's -1. He's in like the -140 range for shots, but probably my favorite there. They should get those chances on the power play. And I don't know, 3 games of 4+ last year against the team is usually going to put me over the edge.
Yeah, that's a really nice look. I like that for a parlay piece a lot. Makes a lot of sense. Dallas, yeah, a team when you look at them overall, you might be like, you might not think of them as a great target, but especially with the power play chances, the guys who take those shots have been doing pretty well. So Tarasenko is definitely on the radar.
The Blues in general have just been in some high scoring games. They're over in 7 out of the last 10. And Dallas isn't far behind, 6-3-1 to the over in their last 10. Be interested in how that looks by location. I'm going to check real quick. St. Louis 6-2-1 lately at home to the over. Dallas on the road 5-4-1. I don't know. I could see both teams scoring, even though the numbers show the Blues. The Blues are turning it around. I think they're a much different team than they were, the first month of the season.
Definitely, yeah.
So I think they could find a couple here. I'm not sure who's in net for the Stars, but
I think it's Otter. Otter. So I better goalie in net, but yeah, I think definitely if they give up those power play chances, that'll be great for the Blues. And Tarasenko, I'm probably just gonna lean into Robertson a bit here. It's been rolling, and I like that price for him to score.
Yeah, I like that look. I mean, he's just on one right now. I think I talked about it 2 weeks ago that I just thought he was going to start going under at some point, and he has not.
No.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, we wrap up with. I mean, this is going to be an exciting game. Florida Edmonton. You go in a lot of different directions with a game like this. Where do you even want to start?
Yeah, so we were talking about this for a show. It works out perfectly that this is the last game on the slate because this is where we feel we have our best bets of the day. So I think we can move into that here. This game in general, I like the over in it, the over 6.5. Is at -120 this morning on DraftKings. I think you had said it opened, or some books had it up at 7. Definitely like the 6.5 here. around that price, -120. You got two teams that are scoring. I think in their respective locations, like just above 3.5 goals. They're letting up around over 3 goals. The power play opportunities from both these teams are up there. And both these teams can score on the power play. So I'm liking the spot. You got expected goalies of Bobrovsky and Campbell. Campbell's up at 4 goals allowed average, and Bobo, he's at what, 3 something. He's not the same. It's not having a good season for him. So I'm liking the over in this game. Just trying to keep it simple here. I mean, it's packed full of scorers in this game, guys who can shoot. So when given their chances, I'll back them here.
Yeah, when I was putting together my article, it was at 7, which I didn't love because a lot of the times lately these teams they've only gone past 7, so 8 or more once in their last 8 meetings. They hit 7 a couple times, but I wasn't very interested in betting something that might be a push at 6.5 -120. Assuming it's still out there, I think that's a really nice play. I'm on a similar angle where I think we can just both win. I prefer the Oilers for scoring. I was able to get them over 3.5 at +115 on DraftKings. I prefer them a little bit to lead the scoring, just because, looking at simple numbers, they're scoring 3.6 at home and Florida's allowing 3.6. And when you look at the power play, both teams are letting up a lot of power plays, and both teams' penalty kill is pretty bad. But Edmonton has got the second best power play scoring rate behind Colorado. So I think they could score a couple here on the power play, which would obviously help get into 4 goals. And they've hit 4 in the last 2 against Florida, which includes a game like 16 days ago. So at plus money, I liked that. I liked the over for sure. If it was that when I was writing my article, that would have been my play. But I'm going with Oilers 3.5.
Yeah, I was just saying before the show, if Campbell wants to step up and have a great night tonight, so be it. But he hasn't been that guy. I mean, he's been letting up tons of goals, and just with how the other side's goaltending has looked recently, I think not that I'm saying that the numbers you were looking to in the past where they were going under 7 are to be neglected. I just think it's Florida, their problem has kind of always been goalies. And I think it's just getting worse. So I like the over, but I do like the Oilers as well. I think I don't see like a 4-3 game here out of possibility. So liking that.
Yeah, and then this is, the picket play of the day. We're on the same shot target. I'm pairing him with Tarasenko, I mentioned earlier. You're playing him straight, as you might be able to see on the screen now. Brandon Montour shots here. Lot to like. Obviously, Edmonton lets up a lot of shots, and Florida just shoots so much as a team. So there should be plenty to go around. But Edmonton's letting up the third most as defenseman. Montour's been rolling. Even with Ekblad back, we were concerned for a little bit that maybe that would impact. He's over in 4 straight. And when you look on the road, sure, some of these games were without Ekblad, but he's got 5+ shots in 5 of his last 6 on the road. And he's kept up that power play involvement. He's on the top power play line with Ekblad. And he's shooting there too. So there's a lot to like. Is there anything I missed on this read?
No, I mean, I could just call back to what I was saying earlier. We're liking this game, the over. We're liking goals in this game. And a lot of the times that goes hand in hand with those shot props. So yeah, Montour, I think you nailed it. It's he's been hitting, which that always jumps out to you at first. You see a guy who's got a nice hit rate hitting that line. But what jumped out to me is when I was on props.cash, I switched into that away chart and I went down to the attempts. It's just like, it's crazy. Granted, there were some roster differences then, but he's averaging like 3 more attempts a game on the road. And you saw him last game at home. He hit the line. He went 3 for 3, which that's not something that typically I'd be like looking for a defenseman to go 3 for 3. But just seeing that he still got the shots on net, and I'm expecting more volume against Edmonton than he got last game. So back on the road, gets some more attempts. I like the spot. The power play makes it huge as well. So that was the one that I felt kind of comfortable taking the straight bet on the juice today.
Yeah, I think minus 130 is fine. I got it to plus 203 with Tarasenko. Obviously, much more risk adding a second guy, but I liked that combo. I kind of want to wrap up I got Tage and Robertson written down for goals that I didn't have as plays before this, but I feel like I want a goal scorer in this game too to make it a 3-legger.
How juiced is McDavid?
I'm seeing plus 110. Hasn't scored against Florida in 3 games, which is interesting. Is Barkov okay? Because he scored 4 goals in 2 games against Edmonton last year.
They'll have to see. I think he was last game. He was a game time decision with an illness.
He's
I
out.
believe it was. Oh, so he's still out. Okay. That just makes me like everybody on Florida. Yeah, Barkov, he's great. He surprisingly, so he had like his shot volume went up a good amount, and he was hitting his shots a lot. But I still think his goals weren't shooting up there, and so a lot of the other players were still scoring despite him shooting a lot. So with him out, I think that they could still score.
And we talk about Oilers' good target for defensemen. Ekblad's got a goal in 3 straight games. He's plus 380. Oh boy. Nice. I don't know. That's really catching my eye here.
Yeah, that's that price is really nice. With Barkov out though, I think I got to bring up Verhaeghe again. He's leading the team in scoring, and he went a few games without a goal, and then had a really nice game last game. So maybe carries that momentum into the Oilers matchup, and Barkov's still out.
Here's an interesting, according to Morning Skate, was this last game as well? Nick Cousins on the top line. Do you know? For Florida?
I'm not sure, but I'm looking in chat. It looks like they're putting Skinner, or they're having Skinner confirmed in net instead of Campbell. So yeah, I was liking the overall because I'm thinking targeting Campbell. I still think Florida can score, but I'm sure that makes you feel better about your Oilers angle of their team total.
It does, but I almost want to spread the net and pick someone on Florida to score, because then I can just be happy with every Edmonton goal, kind of hedge against my own mind. Nick Cousins without Barkov last game, 4 shots on goal on 5 attempts. He did not score, but it seems like the books aren't catching on to his role change, because he's plus 600 here to score in a pretty great matchup. He's got 2 goals in his last 8 games. Mm-hmm. Plus 600 on DK and Caesar and MGM, all of which that price shopping you can easily find on Pickett by poking around a little bit. That's interesting to me. If Nick Cousins is confirmed on the top line, plus 600 for a guy on the top line on an explosive offense against a team letting up goals. I'm going to write that one down.
Yeah. Not a bad angle if you're going to shoot your shot. I mean, you want to take advantage of line changes and stuff like that. People getting bumped up and might not match the price of some of the people around them, especially on the power play. Some guys get bumped up, and the rest of the line that they're on power play might be plus 180, plus 200, and then some guy who's skating right alongside of them is up at plus 400 something. So those are always great spots to try to go for something.
Yeah, I mean, Anton Lundell's pretty interesting name too. He looks like he's taken Barkov's spot on power play 1.
Yes.
Second line centers against Edmonton, always a nice option as well.
That's good that you brought that up because there are
Thank you.
you got to check those prices on the straight point play. Because last game we saw it. I don't know how to pronounce his name. It's on Florida. I think the first name's like E2, and then Listerine or something like that. Listerine,
Listerine?
Listerine, the mouthwash.
Yeah.
No, he got bumped up. He was with Bennett and Kachuk, and he got a point. You know, Lundell had a point, I believe.
Lundell
So
plus 22 for a point.
yeah, so pay if the lines are staying similar there, you know, maybe that could be a really good look as well. Some of those guys they get bumped up to align with, like I said, Bennett, Kachuk, or for Hagee, Reinhardt, Lindell's was on that line, and Verhage looked great. I played his goal last game, and I think that it opens up so many opportunities points wise.
For what it's worth, Lundell had a point in 2 games against Edmonton last year. In both games, he had a point.
What's he at?
Plus
That's the 104.
102, but
Oh, okay, solid.
pretty solid.
Yeah.
Definitely a good game to take some, explore props like that because, yeah, I'd agree that it's high scoring for sure. I think it's still over 7 on FanDuel, so certainly the books would agree that we're going to get some goals here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, I think we touched on a lot there. We got through best bets, pick and play of the day with Montour. 6 games. Yeah, I'm excited to keep last week's momentum rolling. I think it's just good. We're entering December. We know who these teams are a little bit more. We can put some more faith into the numbers. I'm ready to have another good week.
Yeah,
for sure.
definitely. That's what I was talking about before. Just getting that expanded sample size on the different trends is really nice. So I'm excited for this slate. Should be a good one. I'm glad I got a tool like Pickett on my side. Finding those lines for NHL can be very important. There's some of these books have some discrepancy, especially in the shots market where we're seeing a lot of juice. So being able to just filter through and find those really good spots is awesome on Pickett.
Definitely.
And thank you to Goal Boys letting us talk. Wouldn't have this without them. And thank all of you for tuning in. Let's get after it.
Yeah, exactly. Good luck tonight, everybody. Thanks, Paul.